on your left to battle against Danny Jessup on your right. Pretty important match for both players here. Troy Bishop, if he wins, he should be good to go for top 8, 11-3-1. For Danny Jessup, of course, if he wins, it'll be another top 16 finish, potentially a top 8 finish. But again, with the Season 3 race, every point matters for him because if you remember, last year he was the odd man out. He was a 1 Open Series point short and 1 match win short of winning the Season 4 Invitational. So believe me when I say they all matter.
Yes. You never know what point matters until it's all added up.
Here's a Thoughtseize from Bishop as we are underway here in round number 15. An ultimate price, a Nissa, a Den Protector, a Siege Rhino among the options here for Troy when he takes a look at Danny's hand.
Troy, playing Abzan Control here, was noteworthy about his list for game 1. 2 copies of Den Protector instead of the usual 4, and 2 main deck copies of Tasigur the Golden Fang. Definitely helps in the aggressive matchups, but here, where Tasigur is pretty trivial to kill and Den Protector is one of the key cards in Nutrition Battle, Troy is behind.
Well, we'll see what Troy does want to select, and it looks like he's going to go with Nissa. Wants to stop Danny from hitting some land drops. He'll play a Temple of Silence, post Thoughtseize. Take a look at the top card. We'll see where it goes. Looks like it'll stay on top here for Bishop. We'll head up Jessup's way. Does not find his 3rd land. All he can do is pass the turn. For Troy, he does appear to have land number 3. And he'll play that. It'll be a basic forest. And we'll see what the follow-up is here. It'll be a Thoughtseize. Yet again, take a look here at Jessup's hand. Abzan Charm, Hero's Downfall, Ultimate Price, Siege Rhino, Den Protector. There goes the Den Protector. And Troy will pass the turn back over to Danny. Danny will draw. And there's a Windswept Heath off the top of the deck. He'll pass the turn back at the ready to cast an Abzan Charm, you have to imagine. Bishop will draw. He picked up another forest. He'll just pass the turn back. Jessup will sacrifice that Windswept Heath. Forest or Plains on the way. And I think we're about to see an Abzan Charm too.
And for as rough of a start as Danny has had thus far, I think he's the one in the superior position. As long as the game doesn't get out of control, you're getting beat down by Siege Rhinos or what have you, it's just about generating the most 2-for-1s. And Thoughtseize has broken up Danny's draw for a little while here, but now he's starting to peel out of it, and he's got a lot of tools to work with.
Here is that Abzan Charm. Danny will pay 2 life to draw 2 cards. Looks like Danny is working his way out of the mana issues here. Another Abzan Charm has been found, so I'll have to cast this right away because he didn't draw land in those 3 new cards. Of course, 2 from Abzan Charm, 1 from the draw step. So here's 2 more. And now we're going to go to discard.
Danny is 10-4 and still has an outside shot of making the top 8. With that said, it's been a rough weekend at the office here for Danny. We've seen a lot of mulligans to 5 and 4, a lot of missed land drops, and it's a real testament to Danny here that he's been still winning most of his matches in spite of, at least what we see on camera, to be some unfortunate set of circumstances.
I was going to say, the camera has not been kind.
No.
We've seen mulligans, we've seen missed land drops, we've seen it all here for Jessup. What we haven't seen are smooth draws. Of course, if Crewfix reveals Siege Rhino as the promo version.
All my commentary about Danny starting to pull out of it was predicated on him finding a land in these 7 or 8 cards that he looked at over the last couple of turns.
You would think maybe he would find one. Troy going to sacrifice that Windswept Heath. He'll stay at the same life total so long as he does remember the Courser trigger. And there is a basic Plains. And it looks like Troy is interested in maybe a follow-up here. It's clear he did not like the top card of his deck. And it looks like, as you see Nissa revealed, that follow-up is going to be Tasigur the Golden Fang. Back to Jessup we go. He'll draw a card.
Now, again, I don't think Tasigur is better than Den Protector in the mirror match, but given Danny's troubles with lands right now, Danny's in a spot where he has to spend his whole turn answering Troy's play. Troy is the one making the land drops here, so he can either make high-impact plays that are difficult for Danny to remove or play 2 spells in 1 turn and attack Danny's life total with the leftovers.
Yeah, and the thing Troy's doing right now is the Ultimate Price is going to take care of Tasigur. Troy's just building a small incremental card advantage. Yeah, he picks up a copy of Nissa. He's got a Courser on the battlefield. So he'll be able to find some lands, do all that good stuff. And eventually, all those small advantages build up into one big one.
Especially with Danny taking 2 points of damage here, 2 points of damage there. It contracts the amount of time that he has to draw out of it.
Corsair comes into the red zone. Troy going to search up a forest with his windswept teeth. Playing a lot more forest in the deck, 4 now because of Nissa. But this one, well, this has always been the old standby. It's Elspeth.
Still the top player in the mirror match, at least game 1.
Yep, soldier tokens on the way. And the top card is an ultimate price from the Corsair. Jessup's going to need a black source for a hero's downfall, like right now. Instead, he's going to have to cast an Avazon Charm. Pay 2 life, draw 2 cards, and that's likely his entire turn. Did finally find some lands here in Santhop Citadel and Temple of Malady, so that's a step in the right direction, but he's going to need some serious help to get out of this.
And now even catch-ups like Languish are not great for him, as Troy can simply untap and plus Elspeth yet again.
Yep. See if Jessup can make a bit of a comeback here, because he's having some real issues thus far.
Yeah, there's just enough hope in the game for Danny to play on here. But it's going to be very hard for him to win this game. He's just very far behind and not a lot of life to work with.
Yep. Jessup figuring out what card he wants to discard. There is an avenue to victory here. It's just a really hard one to get to. He does have a hero's downfall for Elspeth, and he does have a Languish to clear the board. Elspeth the top card here for Troy. That's going to make things even more difficult. Troy going to come in here for a bunch of damage. Going to be for 5. Elspeth is going to go up. So 3 more soldiers on the way. And now a Nissa. And that's going to be a flipping Nissa, as there are 6 lands on the battlefield. This forest will be land number 7, which will transform it.
I think Troy at least wants to give himself an opportunity to find a different land off of Corsair. Not a big deal, though. If he's playing Nissa with the intent of plussing, I really like this line of play, because Troy's aware the way that I'm going to lose this game, or Danny has any shot of catching up, is Languish. So what's really powerful to do right now is just draw cards and get another Planeswalker into play.
Stay as far ahead as you can. Build up some more card advantage. He's going to minus here and make the 4/4.
Now this play I'm less interested in, because if Danny's only plays are a blocker or a single removal spell, Troy's got this game covered easily. There's no hope of Danny coming back here. It's only Languish that gives Danny any hope of surviving the turn. So playing a 4/4 into the jaws of that, I'm not that big of a fan of.
Yeah, because here is Languish now. That's going to clear away the entire board. And Danny will play a Santhop Citadel and then pass the turn back. Now Troy will have to rebuild. Hero's downfall will be the draw. We'll start by taking a Elspeth, so 3 soldier tokens on the way. Nissa will go up, so we'll reveal the top card, Avazon Charm, so Troy will just draw that. Three mana here. This is a morph. It'll be a Den Protector, of course. And now Troy will just pass the turn back. So Jessup will draw. He's still got a fighting chance here. It's looked ugly, because there's a Temple of Silence.
Troy's got a lot of angles to attack, and it's not even like he's out of gas. He's got Avazon Charm, Hero's Downfall, a lot of tools in his hand to play back against Danny should Danny play to the board.
Yeah, here's another Languish. So a card typically not very good in the mirror, but this situation has presented itself where it's okay.
I mean, it's Danny's best hope right now of recovering, given how far behind he is on the board. He cannot play a single blocker. He can't play an individual piece of removal. That's not going to get it done. So I don't know if Languish is going to be good enough to get Danny all the way back in, but it's his best tool.
Well, board's clear, except for those 2 problematic planeswalkers, of course. So now we go back Troy Bishop's way. He'll draw a card, another copy of Tasker. Playing quite a few of those this weekend.
Yeah, 2 copies in the main.
He'll take up Nissa, top card, Courser of Krufix. Elspeth going up to 8, 3 soldiers on the way.
And you have been critical of Nissa, and I think correctly so, in a variety of matchups. This is the kind of matchup where it shines.
This is the home. This is a good place to be for Nissa. Games drag out, you get to really build that advantage.
Who's got more stuff? And this is really good at generating stuff, early and late.
It's like a Tassiger there. Can't languish away everything. At least that's what Troy's trying to say. Danny will draw. Picked up a copy of Hero's Downfall.
And now Troy is threatening an Elspeth emblem with the ability to keep Elspeth in play, and that's too much for Danny to overcome.
Troy Bishop's going to win game number 1 here over Danny Jessup. Bob's on control. Does win game number 1 over Hobbs on control because we are in the mirror. Different deck lists, however, so we'll get to some of the differences right now. So take a look at Jessup's sideboard. His 2 Duresses, his 2 Drowned in Sorrows, his 2 Arishan's Clerics. He's got a Jamoka's Command and a Johnny Mentor of Heroes, a Garruk, Apex Predator, and Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Ultimate Price, Murderous Cut, Tragic Arrogance, Read the Bones, and a Glare of Heresy.
Just a matchup where you're just trying to outstuff the other opponent. So removal spells are valuable, and planeswalkers that generate 2-for-1s or more. Glare of Heresy, Read the Bones, Tragic Arrogance, Murderous Cut, the Planeswalkers, and Ugin, Garruk, and Ajani. They all fit into that sort of play pattern. Jamoka's Command is the one card I'm not totally sure about. It has moments of being very good in the mirror match. In Siege Rhino battles, and if someone has Courser Krufix, there's also moments where it's either low impact or the other person's burying you with removal spells, and there's not a lot to be done with the card. So that may or may not come in, but the removal spells and the Planeswalkers are very well suited for this matchup.
What do we see on the other side?
A Duress, a Crux of Fate, an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, a Sora and Solemn Visitor, a Nissa Worldwaker, an Other End, 2 copies of Ultimate Price, 2 copies of Jamoka's Command, 3 copies of Fleece Main Lion, and 2 copies of Arishan Cleric. The Other End and the Planeswalkers, even Sorin, I think is good enough to bring into the matchup. I think the Crux of Fate can come in as well. Now the question marks to me are the 2 copies of Jamoka's Command, the 3 copies of Fleece Main Lion. Already said my piece on Jamoka's Command. And 3 copies of Fleece Main Lion used to be a card people went to in the mirror match because the game's gone for a long time, and the Monstrous was a real threat. And it can be powerful on turn 2, but now with Languish in these decks, Fleece Main Lion may no longer be as powerful in the mirror as it once was.
Well, a special shuffle up here for game number 2, and we will talk about the Star City Games IQ circuit and all the fantastic things that are involved with it. It can qualify for the Invitational, you can get some sweet swag, and you can definitely keep your head above water in the Players' Championship race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valuable tool for a lot of our players competing for the Players' Championship. It's also your route to qualify for the Invitational at the local level. Comes with a lot of exclusive prizes beyond the qualification, including playmats, top 8 pins, and SCG premium vouchers.
StarCityGames.com for more information about the IQ circuit. The best thing about this thing is you can have it run at your local store. Any level of them, too.
Yes, scales all the way up to the Premier IQs.
And we're running those this weekend.
We are running those this weekend. You can bring those to your local store. Great way to add more organized play, even if you're not particularly interested in qualifying for the Invitational. It's just more cash tournaments at your store. And, of course, if you are looking to qualify and can't get to an open, this is the best way.
Absolutely. Game number 2 underway here between Danny Jessup and Troy Bishop. Danny Jessup going to be on the play. The camera has been unkind to the young Jessup this weekend.
Is he going to be on the play? I know Jerry T draws a lot in these kind of matchups.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Danny's going to be on 6 cards.
Should have drawn.
Yes.
Should have drawn.
I'm curious what Danny's starting hand size has been in the feature matches
It's been brutal. It's been brutal.
On average, it seems like maybe 5.5 cards. It's been tough to watch.
I had one Invitational where I cashed. I lost playing for top 8 with 2 rounds to go, and I think I drew in the top 32, something like that, where my record in the feature match area was something like 0-5.
Nice, very nice.
And was X-1, just in the regular tournament, playing off camera.
Sometimes it's just not your day.
Sometimes it's not your day. The Walking Corpse deck was not good to be on camera.
Oh, boy.
And that's not the type of deck you want to be bad with on camera, because then people message you about your Walking Corpses.
They do. They do. They make fun of you about their walking corpses.
If they had seen me beat some blue-black control guy who had Curse of Deathhold in play, two walking corpses, there'd be less chatter. But they only watch the matches on camera where, it's a two for two with no text.
Oh, it's got a lot of text.
It's got a lot of flavor text.
It's got a lot of flavor text.
Tells a good story.
Danny Jessup has found 6 cards he can keep. We're underway here.
Combo
players. Combo with what?
Cemetery Reaper.
Okay.
Because it is a zombie.
just good deck building by you. Way to figure it out.
Yep.
Here's a Thoughtseize. You can see Danny with you guessed it, 2 land hand. I bet my entire life savings he won't draw a third one.
There are a lot of cards in this hand that dig him out of mulligans, though, which is very nice. Corsair Crewfix, Read the Bones, and Knobs on Charm can all help in that respect.
It's a good hand. It's a auto keep on Mold 6. Of course, you're going to bite the dust. He's got Knobs on Charm. He's got Read the Bones. He's got everything he can ask for to undo a mulligan. The question is, does he have the third land? Good enough. Yep, good enough.
Given Danny's day so far, I'm sure he'll take it.
Temple Melody with the Scry. There's a Caves of Koilos. Here is Anissa. That'll go Troy Forest, and we'll go Danny's way. Danny going to play Read the Bones here, I imagine. He'll take 2, Scry 2, and of course, draw 2 cards.
So good on Danny for being able to draw these lands and dig out, but we are sort of seeing a replay thus far of what we saw in game 1, where Danny is crawling out of it and making some land drops, but he's taking 2 off the Read Bones. He's going to take 2 off next turn from Nissa. Troy probably has a follow-up play, and if Danny's in a position where he can only cast 1 spell per turn, these 2 damage here, 4 damage here, that's going to add up even if Danny starts answering the board or playing his own stuff.
Yep. Danny with the Windswept Teeth after resolving Read the Bones. So we're going to head back Troy Bishop's way. He's got that Nissa out there. Search for a basic forest. He'll draw a card for the turn. Picked up a copy of Temple of Silence. This is coming in for 2. Jessup's going to go down to 16. The follow-up here for Bishop. Looks to be a Courser, perhaps, and it is. He's going to take 1 to cast it. Take a look at the top card. It's a copy of Llanowar Waste, so he'll place that into play, gain that life back that he just lost. Next card is a Caves of Koilos. That'll be the draw step next turn as we go back to Danny Jessup. He'll take a draw step. Picked up a copy of Windswept Teeth.
Now, there's no reason for Danny to panic. He doesn't have to go crazy answering the board right now. He can still develop his own. But noteworthy that he's a bit on the back foot right now, and these are the types of games where Siege Rhino can be really powerful. In the mirror match, Siege Rhino has a habit of getting outclassed or just eating a removal spell, but when someone stumbles, following up with Siege Rhino has become very powerful because you don't have a lot of cushion time-wise to answer it, and all the little chip shots add up.
Jessup will search up a Plains with his Windswept Teeth. 3 mana here. There's a Nissa. That'll get a basic forest. So there's that. That'll be the land for the turn. And Danny will just pass the turn back after that, so we go to Troy Bishop. Caves of Koilos, the draw. Den Protector on top of the deck. We'll see how Troy wants to spend turn 5 of this game. A lot of options here. Corsair Crewfix in hand. A lot of cards in hand. You'll find that oftentimes in Abzan. Here comes Nissa, along with Corsair. Does Jessup want to trade Nissas here, I suppose, is the question.
If Troy is offering it up as he's approaching 7 lands, it does suggest he may have another copy in his hand. Although I guess what else is Troy doing with the Nissa? Really rough to sit there and not attack or block for 3 turns. So Danny may just take this attack at face value.
Depends how you value the Planeswalker, right?
Well, just also, is it really going to stay in play for that long not doing anything?
It's a good question.
Or is it not going to sit there, not attack or block for a couple turns, and then get downfalled right before it's about to flip?
There's a Corsair. Temple of Silence. Top card to the bottom. Temple of Malady on top now.
I know that there's not a lot going on in Troy's graveyard right now, but this matchup and this game in particular typically goes on for a very long time, and I am loath to give up a Den Protector, which is just one of the best tools for fighting that kind of fight.
It's good at fighting this kind of card, too.
I would have just preferred to put the Sandsep Citadel into play instead of the Temple, save the Scribe for somewhere down the line.
Land off the top is Windswept Heath. That'll enter the battlefield. Tasker on top of the deck now. 6 lands on the battlefield for Bishop. Can he match the Elspeth that Jessup just played? Does he have an answer for the Elspeth? Because keep in mind, for Danny, Nissa flipping is looming.
Yes.
There's only one land away, and he actually has the land in his hand. Everybody's attacking Elspeth now. Looks like Jessup's going to double block there. Let one through here. So Nissa's going to bite the dust. Elspeth will go down to 3, and Troy's going to search up a land here. It'll actually be positive 1 life because he has 2 coursers in the battlefield, so long as he remembers both triggers. And I think we'll see his Elspeth on the way.
And I was not a big fan there of Troy offering up the Nissa, as Danny has a lot of control over how blocks go. He can choose to just chump everything he was feeling so inclined. He could make the block that he made. Whittling down Elspeth, trying to get to her loyalty without killing her outright, isn't worth a whole lot. And Troy had the ability just to get to Nissa next turn, flip into a Planeswalker, and have more tools to fighting the attrition fight.
Well, Elspeth brought 3 soldiers along with it, so Troy's got a pretty good board, but again, these games can be swingy sometimes, so Danny's going to have to try to keep up. He's got an Elspeth on lower loyalty, but he's got a transforming Nissa right now, so let's see if Jessup has the answers available. He'll start by transforming Nissa, going to draw a card. It's a Hero's Downfall. Well, there's an answer to the Planeswalker.
Danny also, I believe, with Den Protector in hand, so he's just very well set up right now to fight the Planeswalker battle of the mirror match. A lot of ways to answer Planeswalkers, a board of his own Planeswalkers. It's where you want to be.
Get that out of here. Time to make 3 soldiers. Keep in mind, too, one thing about Danny Jessup, you know, we talk about the mana issues he's had, and, you know, it's unlikely he'll make top 8 with a win, but one thing he definitely knows is how to play the Abzan Mirror.
Yes.
He's been playing this deck for almost a year.
I think the key part of the Abzan Mirror, from what I have observed, is don't value any one individual thing too highly. A lot of the cards are pretty malleable, they trade with each other, and it's just more important to fight over the key stuff and answer your opponent's key stuff rather than try to end the game too quickly or push through one particular threat and hope that's good enough to win the game. It's going to go on for a long time.
It's something like, you know, playing a Siege Rhino and trying to protect it and push through a bunch of damage with it. That's really not what the matchup's about.
Right.
There's your Hero's Downfall to take care of the Elspeth. Here come the beatdowns. I think part of the reason you like Den Protector so much in this matchup is because of what you mentioned. You don't value one card too highly. Some cards become more important as you go, but there's nothing quick about the matchup.
Exactly, and that's why I wasn't a fan of Troy giving it up on the Den Protector, even though there was only Thoughtseize in his graveyard at the time, because the game's going to go on for a long time, stuff is going to trade, and when the game looks like that, the best thing going on is Den Protector, and eventually the game's going to get to that spot. It's a matter of time. We're there now, in fact. It's only a couple turns later. Troy's got a lot of stuff in his graveyard, and the game is looking like it's going to drag out into a protracted attrition battle.
See the blocks here for Danny. Soldiers are going to try to trade with soldiers, and then, of course, your Crewfix is going to be chump block. 3 damage is going to be dealt to Nissa. It'll go down to 1 counter, but 1 is not none, so Jessup will get to use that powerful Planeswalker again. The follow-up is a Nissa here for Troy Bishop. There's a Sandsep Citadel. It looks like as though he may have forgotten to search with the Nissa. But Also, he may have not wanted to search because of the Hero's Downfall on top of his deck. So it's a little unclear. It's a little unclear. Jessup will play a Sandstep Citadel. So the thing about Nissa is you don't have to search for a land.
Yeah.
You can search for a land if you like to. You see the you may part on that card.
Right. But if it said you must find, then that play from Troy would not be allowed because he still has to trigger it even if he fails to find, still has to shuffle the library. But since Nissa says may, this is all good.
And that's him really placing a priority on Hero's Downfall in this situation. You saw Jessup play a Morph. That's Den Protector. Pass the turn back. Hero's Downfall will be the draw. And now we see what's underneath that. It's another copy of Tasker. Again, he's playing quite a few copies of that card this weekend.
And, you know, this is why I like Danny's pacing of the game thus far. He's not going to break his back trying to protect this Nissa. If he gets 4 cards out of it, that's good enough. You know, he's absorbing a lot of attacks. He's forcing Troy to play a little bit awkwardly. He does not have to go ultimate with this Nissa to win the game. Just getting quite a few cards out of it, that's good enough.
Yeah, small advantages. This is going to bite the dust now. But it got some work done.
Danny had the option there, for example, he could have chump blocked one of the coursers, used a removal spell on the other coursers, and got another turn out of Nissa. But, you know, that's using a lot of cards, and that's not the way Danny wants this game to go.
Also, you got a Den Protector face down. You can just return that Nissa and use it again if you'd like to. You've got a lot of options available to you. He's going to start by, I think, looking for more options with Abzan Charm. Again, able to use Windswept Heath for mana because it's got Noborg on the battlefield. Picked up 2 lands. Looks like he's got a land-heavy hand at this point.
He is also now out of forests. He's just drawn his 3rd copy.
That's a little awkward.
Which matters a little bit for Nissa. Not a huge deal as it pertains to Windswept Heath because there's Nurborg in play.
And I believe he's still got 2 planes to search up. Doesn't appear to have any on the battlefield or in hand. He has one on the battlefield, excuse me. He'll untap now, not ready to activate that Den Protector. So he'll just draw a card instead. Looks like he found a copy of Elspeth. An MVP in this matchup, to be sure. Behind on the life total. Tough to say if he's behind as far as cards are concerned. It's a pretty close battle there.
Den Protector is a huge boon, though.
Here comes the morph. It is a Den Protector, but just for 2. Not going to unmorph just yet. Jessup organizing his mana, deciding how he's going to deploy Elspeth. And he does need 1 more white mana. There we are. And he'll play the Sun's Champion. 3 soldiers coming. And that'll be the turn for Jessup. So Troy looks like he's got something to do on the end step. He does have a Hero's Downfall, so he'll fire away. Bishop will untap. He'll draw that Tasker. Top card of the deck now is a copy of Thoughtseize. So yeah, Temple's going to put Thoughtseize to the bottom, Sandstep Citadel on top of the deck. So that's the land for Troy. This turn he's able to gain some life. We do have an update for you on one of our backup matches that we won't forget to cover, unfortunately. But looks like Ash Durbeck did beat John Taylor. Ash Durbeck playing mono red aggro. So it looks like she's into the top 8.
Awesome.
Give me those beatdowns.
Speeds up our day. Winners all around.
And really, what else matters? What else matters?
Lots of winners today.
Yeah.
Lots of winners.
The price on Fire Trigger Crusader just may have went up a nickel.
Which is good for me because I am leveraged heavily.
Tassiger and
Heavily.
and a passing on the turn. Got a lot of those.
Yeah.
For your cat to knock over.
Yep. My Magic Online account has so many. So I bought 4 for my constructed deck week 1, and then I also lighted a fair bit in draft.
Yeah.
So I think I have 10 or 12. I'll have to look.
Always looking to give those beatdowns.
But if it went from 3 cents to, let's call it a nickel in light of this performance, well, winners all around, as I said.
You can take the headset off and go home. You're all good here.
You're on your own, man.
Fair enough. I can do my best Vin Scully impersonation. It'll be tough, though. 2 mana. What's next here? There's Den Protector. What do we got now? Was it Elspeth again? This will be the 3rd Elspeth of the game. Yep.
Yeah, at this point, Tassiger is very threatening. It's just a card advantage on its own here, and I think Danny just needs to answer this. Tassiger. Now, he does have the tools in play to protect Elspeth for at least a turn, but he can't afford Troy to go crazy with activations.
There is a Tasker activation. Jessup gets to choose what Troy does get. Tough option here. Nissa will flip if you give him that. There are lands to search for, and of course, plenty of lands on the battlefield. Elspeth is problematic, which is why Danny keeps searching for it and getting it. So this is actually pretty tough.
It's the easiest way to win the mirror match without trying particularly hard. Elspeth unchecked will win the game by itself, and even if it's in play for several turns, the advantage you generate can be too much to overcome.
Well, here comes Den Protector, it appears. They can slide through those coursers, no problem. Back to Troy we go. One thing you will know, tick-tock goes that clock. Troy doesn't want to draw. He's already got one of those. That's no good here. And Danny doesn't want to draw either, because if an X4 is going to make it, it's going to be him. So that pace of play might have to pick up here for both players to touch. There's a Forest. Courser will trigger. Elspeth. It's in. No counter spells here, of course. 3 soldiers on the way. Siege Rhino in hand. Hero's Downfall on top of the deck there for Troy. Promo version. There's the Rhino. 28-6 now. You know, what's interesting about this whole thing, as we've seen these players kind of exchange haymakers a little bit here, what kind of goes unnoticed is really the card that might be winning Troy the game is Courser of Crucifix, making sure that he just always draws spells.
Yeah, he's just had more resources to work with. I mean, they have about the same number of lands in play, but Danius has come from flooding out a little bit, whereas Troy has just been getting a couple few lands here and there. And even this late in the game, he's still tapping out for stuff. The mana all matters, and especially when so many of the lands in these decks are temples, funding those off of Courser is very good as well.
Also, you see the life totals here, too. 28-5. Courser's got a lot to do with that.
And this goes back early on in the game when Danny stumbled a little bit out of the gates and took a couple points here and a couple points there.
Yep. And it's just, it's pretty important to note that, you know, when a player is at 28, that equals more draw steps.
Yeah. It makes you play very differently. You know, Danny draws a Siege Rhino, and Troy doesn't care too much about that.
Yep.
Troy's Siege Rhinos right now are a huge concern for Danny.
Can Jessup get his way out of this one? You saw he had to tick down Elspeth to take care of Tassiger. This was providing too much of an advantage.
he has drawn an Abzan Charm, and I think he's looking, can I put these counters on the Den Protector and kill Elspeth and then plus my Elspeth? I think Troy's board is too big for that, and especially with the Hero's Downfall coming, Danny, as bleak as it looks, may just have to draw 2 cards and hope for the best. Because I don't think any of the other modes are getting very much work done in this spot.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Abzan Charm.
Yeah, he just has to draw 2 right now.
Got to find cards. One of them was a land. Didn't get a great look at the other one.
I believe Nissa was the other draw.
I've seen worse. Back and flip help provide an advantage. And as you mentioned a little bit earlier in this particular game, this is a game where Nissa has impressed me some.
Yes. This is the right kind of matchup.
Yes.
Same as Corsair or Crewfix.
Yep. It's going to flip now. About 14 minutes left to go for these two players. Troy Bishop up a game. Danny Jessup trying to tie it up.
And I don't think a 4-4 gets Danny very far here.
I don't think so either.
I think he's still got to keep looking for cards.
I think he's trying to weigh that right now. Yep. Hero's Downfall.
Big draw.
That's not bad. That'll play here.
It answers the most immediate concern, which is, how am I beating Elspeth?
Mm-hmm. Three soldiers from Elspeth. Den Protector, not a good attacker, given the Siege Rhino that's on the battlefield.
It's a good lesson here, what you're seeing from Danny. There's some spots where you're so far behind, you have cards that can do things other than draw cards, but you still have to just draw cards, because even killing the Elspeth by pumping your Den Protector, let's say, that's not addressing all the concerns on the table. You need to do something bigger than that.
Danny taking the time to actually Hero's Downfall the Siege Rhino. Not doing a lot of math. I guess one thing to weigh into the equation is that he is at 3. I guess we kind of forget that a little bit. Den Protector is going to knock that down to 2.
Players, if you sign up for Commander Pod number 3, Commander Pod number 3, your event is ready to begin. Please come on
Pass the turn back. He's not out of the woods yet by a long shot, though.
Yeah, Siege Rhino that turn might have just taxed Danny's blocks too much.
Yeah.
And assuming he can get in the next turn with Nissa, then he's still looking at 2 cards and there's some hope.
Well, Hero's Downfall is the draw. Elspeth is on top of the deck. You can see just how much Jessup has to overcome to try to get back into this game, and Bishop is trying to end it. He doesn't want to play a third game. Doesn't even know if he's going to have time for one. So everyone's coming into the red zone. We'll see who is attacking.
I think you go after Jessup here because he's at 3. He has to make a lot of the same blocks that if you attacked a Planeswalker, and getting in a point or 2 this turn is worth a lot.
Looks like Jessup wants to trade soldiers for soldiers, chump block a Corsair, go down to 1. Elspeth will go up. Troy will get 3 more. He'll have that soldier advantage. And now the question is how does he want to use his Hero's Downfall? He can kill Nissa. He can kill Elspeth. He can even make an argument for killing the Den Protector now, I suppose.
I suspect that Elspeth is more valuable than a random card, which is what Nissa amounts to here. So I like going after Elspeth.
Troy does too. Hero's Downfall takes care of that. And Jessup is going to need some good draws here.
He is at 1. Even his best draws, a lot of them don't get him out of this.
Mm-hmm. Garrick Apex Predator is an interesting one.
He does pick up some life points if he's able to kill one of the creatures.
Life is pretty good for him right now.
Yeah, he just needs a little bit of a cushion with Troy going wide right now with these Corsairs and the Elspeth tokens.
Yeah, the big question now is, Am I supposed to plus my Nissa? Am I supposed to get the 4/4? Destroy another target planeswalker? That's pretty good. Can make a token, can minus it and get some life. That way, gain life equal to toughness, so killing a Courser will get him 4 life, put him up to 5.
Yeah, I think he needs to keep looking for cards here.
Courser, okay.
Yeah, and now between Garrick and Courser, he can generate a little bit of a cushion in terms of life total. He doesn't have to answer literally every counter right now, every creature right now.
Abzan Charm on top of the deck. There's a land up to 2.
I don't think he can afford to kill Elspeth, especially with another Elspeth on top of Troy's deck. I think he needs to kill a Courser and get a little bit of life here.
If he kills a Courser, he goes up to 6. And then he's got 2 blockers on defense. Courser runs into Courser.
And he's got the Den Protector available to kill Elspeth if that's a priority.
Because a play he has to work into the equation if he doesn't kill Elspeth is Troy can go plus Elspeth, play new Elspeth.
Yep.
Get 6 soldiers in 1 turn, and Danny knows that he's drawing a copy of Abzan Charm, which is it's okay.
He needs to be able to cast it to draw 2 cards because none of the other modes really matter right now.
Yeah. So Garrick is going to kill a Courser. Jessup's going to go up to 6. He's going to leave his Den Protector back on D. Perhaps this is to protect his Planeswalkers. Troy, wow. Elspeth in play, Elspeth in hand, Elspeth on top of the deck. Whew.
But Danny making no real effort to kill Elspeth that turn with the Den Protector because he knows he's drawing another one.
Yeah.
Now there's yet another one being drawn, so.
Everyone's going to go after Garrick.
At 2 loyalty, Troy's got to finish this thing off.
This will give Danny the opportunity to eat a couple soldiers, though.
Yep, it's not too bad.
It's a small gain, but it's a gain nonetheless. But I think getting Garrick off the table is probably ideal. I know Troy would like to continue to go after the life total, but I think he's got to slow down a little bit and get the Apex Predator off the battlefield. He'll take a look at Nissa now just to make sure he knows exactly how that works. A lot going on with that new card. Elspeth's going to tick up. 3 more soldiers on the way here for Bishop. Now, what's curious to me is, will he play the other Elspeth and try to get 3 more soldiers?
I'm down.
Especially when he knows he's drawing another one.
Yeah, without the other Elspeth on top of the deck, I think that would be too aggressive. But with one coming, and it looks like Troy's making the same decision here, I like just trying to get some more tokens into play. You're fighting Planeswalkers at this point. Danny's life total is low. If he plays Abzan Charm to draw cards and doesn't hit what he's looking for, you want to be able to win the game next turn. I like dialing it up.
That's what he's going to do. So 6 soldiers now. One with the one that is tapped, that's number 7. And then a Courser on the battlefield. Ultimate price on top of the deck. Abzan Charm was the draw.
Now Danny playing some defense here, and he is starting to threaten Nissa's ultimate.
Yep. Ultimate price is the draw off of Nissa. A Johnny, Mentor of Heroes, on top of the deck. Jessup will play a land. He's up to 7. You see the ultimate there with Nissa. On tap up to 6 target lands, it becomes 6/6 elemental creatures. They're still lands, so that's a pretty healthy ultimate and a lot of damage. One thing that those lands do not do, however, they don't trample.
Yes.
So that's certainly something to keep in mind if we ever do get to that point. Ultimate price is going to take care of Courser. And Danny with Abzan Charm in hand. Again, the question is, how does he want to use it? The tough part here is, if he draws 2 cards, he plays a Johnny, he might not find anything that helps him.
Also, because he has Courser in play, Troy gets to see it. He's basically playing face up right now. And if Danny misses, there's no bluffing to be done. Troy just gets to attack for the kill.
Johnny is 1. Temple is 2. Siege Rhino is 3. Does he have enough mana to play a Johnny and Siege Rhino? I think he does. Yep.
Yep.
Exactly enough. So there is a Johnny. Elevator going up because that's the only way the elevator goes on the Mentor of Heroes. Take a look at a couple of cards here. He's taking a Siege Rhino, believe that. Top card after that is a Temple of Silence. Siege Rhino hit me.
All right. Danny has crawled himself back into this one.
It's a struggle with 5 minutes to go. But Danny Jessup is crawling back into it, as you mentioned, and really crawling back into it for a draw.
Yeah.
But as we have said so many times, every point matters for him. He's not going to top 8 this weekend, but he's trying to get past Ross Merriman and qualify for that Players' Championship, and Troy is trying to stop him from doing that. And if Troy wins, he's probably in the top 8. So Troy needs to win this game. He can't get a draw.
Yeah.
Because we're not playing a third game here.
Troy now surveying the carnage.
There's a lot to look over, that's for sure. Not an easy board to digest.
And no guarantee Nissa's ultimate is game. In fact, it's not going to be, I think, even good here. But as Johnny's ultimate, that should be good enough.
That's probably good.
If Danny can hang back here and block and trade and keep pushing up his planeswalkers, finding resources to trade with, there is light at the end of the tunnel if he can go ultimate with a Johnny. That's a hard thing for Troy to overcome.
Pretty dark tunnel. But as you mentioned, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It's like Troy is just going to take the opportunity to get a Johnny off the table right now.
Probably for the best. Here's Elspeth. Three more soldiers. Pass the turn back. Jessup going to draw a copy of Temple of Silence. What's on top now? Ultimate price. I like Danny playing Temple first.
Yeah, this ultimate price is not doing a lot here. He's got to put this on the bottom, plus this, and find something that matters more.
Like
For example,
like a Den Protector. He can't draw that one fast enough. What's after that? Temple of Silence. That one doesn't matter all that much.
And
Den Protector is going to be cast real quick.
Now with this Den Protector and all the resources it gets back, Danny can start attacking down Troy's Elspeth with his other Den Protector.
Yep.
Then he gets out from under that.
What's actually kind of interesting is if Danny wants to get back Elspeth or if he wants to get back a Johnny, because he can make an argument for getting back a Johnny, pump my Den Protector, kill your Elspeth now.
Yep.
Now, Johnny probably isn't better than Elspeth on the whole, but tick-tock goes the clock. We'll see. He's going to go with Elspeth.
I like getting Elspeth here as well. This is a better play against Troy ripping spot removal next turn. And it makes it way harder for Troy to attack the Planeswalkers as well. And now Danny's life total is in a place where Danny getting attacked for lethal is no longer a short-term risk.
Pass it back. Jessup catching up. Troy Bishop will untap. He'll take a draw. 25-9 no life totals. Jessup threatening to go ultimate with his Nissa, but I'm with you. I don't think it matters too much right now. Again, those lands don't have trample. They will be 6/6s if Danny wants to go that route.
Troy has drawn Obzon Charm, which is a very interesting card here. The easiest thing to do is draw 2 cards. He can also put a counter on the 2 Den Protectors and minus Elspeth, and that opens up some attacks. I don't think it leads him to a position where he can attack Elspeth down, and it leaves his Elspeth vulnerable on the way back. So I think the best decision here is simply to draw some cards, but there are some options here.
Quite a few. And you mentioned how he can put counters kind of anywhere.
Yeah. It's worth a once-over. If Danny's life total is lower, that Obzon Charm could result in a kill. But now at 9, that's not going to do very much.
Instead, it resulted in 2 lands being drawn. Not terribly helpful. There's a land. Elspeth is going to go up to 6. 3 more soldiers coming.
And I think now Troy, with the clock in the position that it's in, he's just going to err on the side of caution here. He can take a 1-0-1 drop. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine, because that's a W.
Yep.
Or will he? Getting very aggressive.
Well, I think he's just trying to prevent Nissa from going ultimate, I think is where that attack went.
Yep. Down to 5.
Because that puts some strain on Troy's blockers.
A little bit. A little bit.
He still has enough back on defense to protect his Elspeth. He's also ahead on the Elspeth race to going ultimate. Now, again, Danny has the option of shutting that down with his Dem Protectors going on offense.
The die at the very top, underneath the clock, represents what turn it is. We're in turn 1 of extra turns. Can Danny Jessup find a way to win this game? That's the question. I'll start with the Temple. Murder's Cut's probably going to go to the bottom. That one doesn't help very much given the board. Another Dem Protector would be nice. Phantom Citadel, not so much. Nissa will draw that. That'll gain Danny a life. And Windswept Heath on top of the deck. Den Protectors are coming in to take care of Elspeth. We think. Yep. Can't be blocked. Elspeth will tick up. 3 soldier tokens on the way.
Keep in mind, Danny on turn 3 of extra turns can get Elspeth up to 7. And on turn 5, if everything breaks the right way, gets to go and make an emblem, which is a combo with Nissa's emblem.
Very true.
So Danny has a way, even with Troy at 22 and some blockers back on defense, there's a route to win in one attack.
There's an avenue to victory. We're just going to see if he can find it. It is cloudy, though. And a lot of stuff's going to have to break right for him to get there.
The problem is that Troy may be able to fend this off by just getting even the little bit of damage on Nissa and Elspeth. But it becomes very hard if Troy can't attack.
Which he can't right now.
Because Danny's going to get in some points of damage this turn with the Dem Protectors.
Ugin on the top. Ugin's not a bad draw with Nissa. Elspeth on top. There's a land. Gain a life. Curious to see how Danny wants to use Ugin here.
I don't think there's anything fancier to do than play this and bolt a token.
Yeah.
Just protect your 2 Planeswalkers. You have the win set up for next turn with your 2 Planeswalkers.
Here is Ugin.
I know it's not a pretty Ugin, but I don't think there's a lot much else to be done with it in this spot. Because if Danny gets to his Planeswalker ultimates, he wins by a lot. He doesn't need to deal 3 damage to Troy right now to be able to set that up.
Going up. You
Boom.
think, yep, just kill token. Kill your 1/1.
Take that.
Yep. Troy Bishop will draw. Another land.
We're going to turn 5 here, and I think Danny's got this set up.
I think he's got it set up for exactly turn number 5. There's a temple for Troy Bishop. Top card goes to the bottom. He's got a land in his hand. All he can do is pass the turn back. Jessup is going to untap on the last turn of this match. Top card is a Read the Bones. He has the ability to ultimate Elspeth, ultimate Nissa. You see him pulling 6 lands. We have never seen the ultimate of Nissa here on SCG Live, but we're about to.
Getting a little help from Elspeth. And that's 40, I don't know, it's a lot. There's a lot of damage.
It's not a small amount, and all Troy can do is have his hands together, and they are going to draw. Danny is going to win this game, and it will be a draw between these 2 players, which means that Troy Bishop will end this tournament at 10-3-2. Danny Jessup will end this tournament at 10-4-1. That'll probably get Danny into the top 16. It will certainly get Troy in the top 16. And What a contrast here for Troy.